Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. As you can see by the title, man, yes. If you clicked on this video because of Tua Tagovailoa, however you pronounce his name, I'm so sorry. If you're a Miami Dolphins fan, or if you're a Tua's fan, or if you're an Alabama fan and you support Alabama byproducts that make it to the league, then you're on the right video. So, this video right here, man, I'm going to be honest with you guys. So, I have had a very strong opinion on this. And this is why I say that this is the reason why I know that one day I will be a good analyst, a good broadcaster because of my take on things. So I was looking at it like this. I was telling everybody who would listen, Tua's overpaid. That don't make no sense. How Tua get this contract, but Dak didn't get this money. I was against Tua making the money, and arguably so. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that Tua. This is. And see, here's the thing. So. This is what a lot of us was doing, right? We all know. A question I asked a while back, what's the most difficult position in football? And for the most part, everybody would tell you quarterback. It really is, like, honestly. So quarterback itself is already difficult. And we wasn't giving Tua a fair shake because we were so stuck on comparing Tua to Joe Burrow or to Patrick Mahomes, and he's not those guys. And in my opinion, is he a caliber quarterback as those guys? Probably not. But that doesn't mean that he's not a good guy. That doesn't mean that he's not a good quarterback. So I was looking at on First Take, and they was talking about, Mad Dog. If you're familiar with First Take, Mad Dog, he goes in sometimes. Sometimes he has logic. Sometimes I think he just be talking, just to be talking. But he was going in and he was saying that he's not great or something like that. And Chad Ochocinco was trying to tell him that you don't have to be great to win a Super Bowl, to win championships. You really don't. You can be good and that be enough. Great is what, in my opinion, great is what we would consider Mahomes. Great is what you would consider Aaron Rodgers. Great is what you would consider Drew Brees. And great is what you would consider Tom Brady. Great is what you would consider Peyton Manning. Great is what you consider Joe Montana, Steve Young, except Troy Aikman. I can go on, right? It's not a whole bunch of quarterbacks that fall under that great Dan Marino, that great jacket. It's just not. So I say this. Let's go back to, let's look at the 49ers. Let's look at them from when they made it to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G and when they made it to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. And there's no disrespect to Brock Purdy, but ask yourself, is Brock Purdy a top 10 easily? Is he a top 10 quarterback? And I'm talking, you ain't got to think about it. When you say Mahomes, is Mahomes a top 10 quarterback? Absolutely, without even having to think. Josh Allen, absolutely, without even having to think. Joe Burrow, absolutely, without even having to think. Lamar Jackson, right? But with Brock Purdy, he's not a top 10 quarterback. But look at what they was able to accomplish. Because of what? The system, good coaching, also a great defense. So if you look at the Dolphins, so it was a guy on the First Take. Shout out to you, man. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. And he was going in on Mad Dog and he was defending Tua. So he was saying that when you look at the course of the season, right, Tua ended up losing a lot of his defensive line, right? He lost not just defensive line, but at one point, Jalen Ramsey wasn't playing, and then when Jalen Ramsey came back, Xavier Howard was gone. So, they never was on the field together. So you're dealing with that. And then they said even when you look at the over the course of the season, even up when they played Kansas City, they were saying that the Dolphins abandoned the run game. You had one of the best offensive line with two of the fastest running backs in the league, but for whatever reason, they got away from their bread and butter. And if you're able to establish an identity through the run, that opens up with play action passes, that opens up with a whole bunch of different things. Misdirection, now the playbook is endless, right? Because you kind of got them guessing they're on their toes. But if they're not on their toes, it's a lot easier to game plan for something that for the most part probably isn't going to change. So even if you look at that, and then if you look at, this is the part that won me over. So the guy was saying that, the guy on First Take, by the way, he was saying that the coach prior to McDaniels that was there in Miami, he had pretty much mentally wrecked Tua. They were saying at one point Tua was contemplating if he even wanted to keep playing football. They were saying that Tua was the last person to show up to practice, and he was the first person to lose practice just because he had been hearing, you're not a good quarterback. We made a mistake taking you in the draft, so it was defeating him. You got McDaniels who comes in and revitalizes him to where we see a whole different side of Tua. So We're putting a jacket on Tua of the Mahomes and the Joe Burrow jacket, or the quarterbacks that we deem as great players, and we're putting that and we're expecting that of Tua. That's not Tua. That's not his game plan. So if you look at the Dolphins, and a big question to me, is he overpaid? When I look around the league and I look at all the quarterbacks, the good quarterbacks, I would say the great ones, the Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons, all those guys, they're tied up into contracts. You know what I mean? So if I am an organization and I know damn well I don't have the cap space to go after these quarterbacks, nor do I have the leverage to be able to get them, and it's not a guarantee. Look at what top quarterbacks came out the draft this year: J.J. McCarthy, what's his name from LSU? I can't think of his name at the moment. Sorry about that. And Caleb Williams. It wasn't a high draft in terms of quarterback. So let's think about the coming up season. Is it going to be the same? You know what I mean? So you got to ask yourself, Tua has shown signs of brilliance. He's shown signs, and we know he's somewhat competent as a player, as a quarterback, to be able to, and a lot of people say, well, he's surrounded with top talent when you're at Alabama. Yeah, but at the same time, you still have to be good enough to make do. You just can't be a mediocre quarterback and go to Alabama just because it's Alabama and put up the numbers that Tua put up. It's just not realistic to say that, and that's a discredit to Tua in terms of being an athlete. So when you look at it, in my mind, it's hard to go against it now. When you're looking at it, because you look at timing, and Chad Ochocinco says something smart. Whenever it comes to being paid as an athlete or what position you play, it's all about timing. And right now, it's the timing of the quarterbacks. It's all about the resetting the market. So it's almost like, okay, do I feel like this person is worth that? Probably not. But if I don't give him what he's worth, he's going to go somewhere else, and somebody else is going to give him what he's worth. So how about this? We let this guy walk just because we feel that he's not there. And we've seen signs that if we put the right pieces around him, we can get him to where we need him to be, because you've seen that. They like to say, well, Tua doesn't perform good under the cold. Well, at the end of the day, it's not just Tua. You got the defense, you got the special teams, and even the coaching. Is the coaching putting him in the best possible position to be successful? Like you say, you abandoned the run game, something that y'all was so good at the earlier stage of the season. Why would you abandon it? Once you abandon that, now that puts even more pressure on Tua to try to go out and make something happen. You know what I mean? And the more pressure that you have on you, obviously, it's going to be it's a small room for error, because if you mess up, now everybody say, oh, you was a bust or you mediocre, and it ain't even necessarily that. It's just our game plan didn't line up for, it wasn't in place for us to be victorious. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna make another video, and I think the next video I'm gonna kind of go down. I'm gonna break down his season statistics prior McDaniels and post McDaniels, and then kind of just look into all these other things. But like I say, man, I'm getting better at this analyst thing. I'm excited for the future and to see how far, how much more knowledgeable I'm gonna get, because I know I've gotten so much better. But while that was fresh on my mind, I wanted to go ahead and just, talk to you guys about that, and, maybe see you guys' opinion, how y'all feel about it. But I do plan on elaborating on this a little bit more, and even the Dak Prescott, and even potentially the Kirk Cousins situation. But that is it for this video, man. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash the thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, click that post notification bell, where you be notified every time I upload, because just like the GOAT Drizzy Drake say, man, I'm coming back to back with these videos. I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm out this thing. Peace.